Welcome to the Weather Show with Vin Crosby here on YouTube. Hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit that like button. Let's get right to it. Hurricane Ida, now a very, very dangerous Category 3 hurricane. It is expected to strengthen. Everybody's been talking about it. I can't sleep. Been up all night. I wanted to dive into the maps, and boy, there's some tremendous eye-popping observations that are taking place right now with this storm. So let's get right to it and show you the maps and see where this thing's going. Wait till you see how far inland hurricane force winds are going to go. They're going to go all the way up many miles past New Orleans. Right now, the winds, as of around 1 a.m. Central Time, we are looking at winds up around 115 miles per hour sustained, and the higher gusts are going to continue. The pressure is 955 millibars, but look at this storm on the radar. You can see a very defined circular eye. It keeps intensifying, and many bands of reds and oranges around that eye of rain. And notice how far east it stretches. You can see a lot of orange boxes popping up on the radar. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. There are going to be tornadoes too, anywhere from the Florida Panhandle back through Alabama, all the way into Mississippi, and of course around New Orleans. The storm system will continue pressing towards the east and north at a real good clip. You can see the satellite picture with a very wide storm, but the center is very concentrated, very compact, very strong, and rapidly intensifying. Very easily going to become a Category 4 storm. Wouldn't surprise me if it knocks on the door of a Category 5 right before it makes landfall and then weakens. Right now the winds, you can see, are gusting up around 100 miles per hour back towards where the eye is, south of the New Orleans area. The big concern with New Orleans is that it sits down below sea level. That's why they have the levees. This storm is probably going to go in and be even a little stronger than Katrina as it makes its way on in towards the area. Could it be a worst case scenario for the New Orleans area with this storm? So taking a look at the winds across much of the Gulf Coast region, you can see the winds now starting to really pick up just southeast of New Orleans. The buoy out offshore there, that's the big winner, 85 knots. I have seen some readings up over 90 knots. A good rule of thumb, divide that number by 7 and then add it to the number. So right now we're looking up around 95 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour. The center of the storm has 115 mile per hour winds sustained. This will continue pressing on inland as it goes into the overnight hours. So let's take a look at some of these winds. This from the National Weather Service forecast track and some of the computer models. We put the wind fields of the highest gusts around in the color, and you can clearly see the eye of the storm and the strongest winds right around the eye of the storm, and then the strong winds way out in advance of it in the orange and the yellows. And wait till you see how strong those winds are as we go through time. This is going to be right around 9 o'clock Sunday morning Central Time, 8 o'clock Mountain Daylight Time. There's your eye of the storm. Notice these bands of reds and pinks around the outer side. Those wind speeds there, they're up well over 100 miles per hour. That's a 143 mile per hour wind around these areas. And then as you see the northern front end of the eyewall, that too getting winds up around 140 miles per hour, just tremendous. And then 135 mile per hour winds. These are just tremendous winds around the eye of the storm. Notice the 100 mile per hour winds extend northward and way out in advance of the eye wall. And this going in towards 9 o'clock in the morning, hurricane force winds are now on inland. That's an 81 mile per hour wind in that lighter orange shade there. Let's go in though. I want to go in and take a look at the eye of the storm. So this tells the story about the eye of the storm. I've been in several of them. This is the eye where the wind speeds are calm in the eye. And that blue area, that's a wind speed only around 20 miles per hour or so, 26 miles per hour. as you go a little bit outside of the eye of the storm. Now you get into some tropical storm force winds and then back into hurricane strength winds, very close to that 26 mile per hour wind. Look at that, 140 miles per hour, 142 in the eyewall of this storm. And then back here, we've got a wind 143 miles per hour. So tremendous amount of wind energy. This is all going to push on inland, and watch where the wind field goes with this forecast. You can see New Orleans up there right in the middle of your screen to the north of that eye. We can take the opacity down a little bit here to show you exactly where the areas of concern are. Lake Pontchartrain, Morgan City, Yuma, and then back up towards Baton Rouge. But let's go in for a closer look, because this is around noontime on Sunday, Central Time. Grand Isle there, you can see pretty much where these high winds are going to be. And as we click on some of these wind speeds, take a look at this. We're looking at wind speeds well up over 90 miles per hour going inland with this storm system as it goes through around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on your Sunday. And then this band of reds and oranges you can see stretching on up over Lake Pontchartrain. Winds up around 93 miles per hour there. Back around Jefferson Parish, 93 miles per hour. St. James Parish, 73 miles per hour. This during the afternoon on your Sunday. 74 mile per hour winds around Morgan City. That's certainly enough to bring major damage to that area. And then, of course, around the eye of the storm, massive devastation. That's 118 miles per hour down there, just east of the eye as it makes landfall. Notice the winds expand to the north, 47 mile per hour winds knocking on the door of Baton Rouge. And then back up here, let's take a look here at the next time. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Mountain Daylight Time. This is around 5 o'clock. Check this out. 120 mile per hour winds near that. A core of it comes through just west of Jefferson Parish, south of St. Charles, south of New Orleans, and then getting up into Lake Pontchartrain, we got wind speeds jumping up over 90 miles per hour. So this is going to cause massive devastation from Jefferson Parish to St. Charles, all the way on up towards Louisiana. And getting up towards, it looks like Lake Boeuf. You can see the eye there right around Lockport, but that wind will be up around 40 miles per hour. But that was like 115 mile per hour wind in that purple area just between La Rose and getting up in towards La Rose and Lafitte and up around Estelle, getting just south of New Orleans. Tremendous wind speeds here. Mediare, 84 miles per hour. Chalamet, wind speeds up around 80 miles per hour. As you continue looking to the north with the range of winds, Hammond coming in with winds getting up around 70 miles per hour. This around 5 p.m. in the afternoon on Sunday Central Time. The system is going to slow down with such a large amount of energy. That is 102 mile per hour winds coming up over Lake Pontchartrain. This going into around 8 o'clock in the evening on Sunday. Tremendous amount of damage will have happened and will be happening around New Orleans late in the afternoon through the evening hours because of this massive area of wind on the right side of the eye, which will be back just around the St. James Parish area, moving towards Baton Rouge, but around Slidell, getting down toward New Orleans, winds anywhere from 76 to 115 miles per hour, driving the winds coming in that east-northeast direction, pushing the wall of water on surging inland. And then check this out. This again late in the evening, now Sunday evening, wind speeds now getting up around 80 miles per hour, hurricane strength, anywhere from Lake Charles back over to Baton Rouge and continuing to move to the north. Now we're into the overnight hours on Sunday night. 9 p.m., we've still got a wind around 100 miles per hour at 9 p.m., just around Ascension, coming in just south of Livingston, southeast of Baton Rouge, and just on the west side of Lake Pontchartrain with that high gust of wind. This is all going to push towards the east, massive wind damage and massive devastation. The flooding will be extreme. Let's hope the levee system holds. Let's hope there's not any breaks in those levees, because a tremendous amount of surge of water will be pressing on in from the Gulf of Mexico right in towards Lake Pontchartrain. Back up to the north. Look how high and far north the winds go. Tropical storm force winds get into around Macomb, in those areas of Mississippi around 10 p.m. in the evening, and the wind's still battering Baton Rouge, Hammond, and New Orleans. Many areas, of course, without power at this point in the evening. That's 57 mile per hour winds up around Washington Parish. And then as you get over the border of Louisiana, back in towards Mississippi, we see the winds field start to expand to the north. And you can clearly see where the eye is, and clearly see where that round area of high winds are across the region. So 63 mile per hour winds now north of Baton Rouge. Just to the northeast of that, around St. Helena, we got wind speeds coming in here anywhere between 70 and 90 miles per hour. Now, this system wraps up a little bit. This is around 4 o'clock in the morning Central Time. That's yeah, you saw that correctly. Around 90 mile per hour winds at 4 in the morning, right around the Louisiana Mississippi border, going up north towards Amite and Natchez. So tremendous amount of wind energy still cranking with this storm as the major hurricane presses on inland. There's a band of strong winds then getting in towards the early morning hours on your Monday up around Macomb. But by that time, a path of just devastation will be anywhere from Houma, Morgan City, through New Orleans, Lake Pontchartrain, Baton Rouge, and points on towards the north. Look at that, Brookhaven up there on the evening, early morning hours, 8 a.m. on your Monday morning, getting the high winds, tropical storm force winds. Let's go and now check out and talk about some rain, because the flooding is always a big possibility with this storm. Check out how much rain is going to be coming on through. The rain totals are going to be massive and destructive, as they always are when storms like this of this magnitude press inland. Now we put on the rain totals in 6-hour increments. So we're looking at how much rain will fall each 6-hour increment, and you can see that scale. The legend has well over 14 inches in some areas. So let's find out where those areas are. By noon on Sunday, we see areas of heavy rains moving across the region. In the blue, offshore, that's 8.5 inches of rain falling in 6-hour periods. And then as we move to the north, south of New Orleans, about 2 to 3 inches of rain coming down in a period between 6 a.m. and noon. And then by noon to 6 p.m., clearly you can see now almost 7 inches of rain falling around New Orleans on top of the 2 inches. So now they're up around 10 inches of rain by the evening hours on your Sunday, with the storm surrounding areas kind of getting an overlap of heavy rains, where we get rains from 3, 4, 5 inches, and then in another 6-hour period, 3, 4, 5 inches. So this blue area goes from here around New Orleans around 6 p.m. in the evening, with another 6 inches on top of that. So that puts us up around 16 inches of rain, and then going in towards Monday midnight, another 6 inches. So we're looking at around 18 inches, maybe 20 inches of rain in that blue swath from New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and then getting up north into southern areas of Mississippi. So that line every 6 hours is going to put around 6 to 9 inches of rain in and over that area from New Orleans through Baton Rouge on up in towards southern areas and southwestern areas of Mississippi. This is by noon on Monday, still raining. Of course, the winds will not be as high at this point. the red area picking up 2 to 3 inches of rain, and then that races to the north through Jackson, back up in towards northern and central areas of Mississippi. And then watch this swath of heavy rain, how far it starts to move to the north and east. Mississippi is going to get into some major flooding, and then it's going to continue moving to the northeast right over areas like Nashville, Tennessee, right where we had that devastating flash flooding event just a week ago. It's coming back again. Watch that area red. That's the heavy areas of rain in 6 hours, coming down between 2 and 3 inches of rain, moving to the northeast, back towards Nashville. It's going to start raining, and it's not going to let up. Every 6 hours, heavy amounts of rain and thunderstorms will be moving through the region. The darker oranges and yellows, you're getting up over an inch of rain every 6 hours. There's 1.12 inches. The darker shades, 1.64 inches of rain. Now this moves right up to the north, getting in through Kentucky, getting on in towards the just west of the Appalachians, but as this system bends towards the east, it will get into the Appalachians and affect northwest Georgia and eastern areas of Tennessee. Birmingham, Alabama getting into the mix as well. Don't forget, there's going to be a chance for thunderstorms. This is now Tuesday. By noon on Tuesday, Cincinnati getting into the mix, Louisville getting into the mix. And as we continue pressing off towards 6 p.m. on Tuesday, the same areas of Nashville, Kentucky, back in towards northern areas of Mississippi getting the heavy rains. But that orange area concentrated over the same areas again in Tennessee, back up towards areas around Charleston, West Virginia, but Frankfort and Louisville and Cincinnati. Major flooding coming to Kentucky areas. And then this is all going to move on in towards the Pittsburgh area, back to the northeast. So that's the devastation of the storm that we're worried about, is the flooding potential that is going to happen with this system. Check out this is an interesting radar loop that I show you here. Of course, the very concentrated eye, the bands well out in advance of the eye of the storm with the heavy rains and thunderstorms. But as I show you this is actually the wind field of the storm. So notice the scale on the wind field here. Those winds, those are well over 100 knots in the blue coming in right around the eye wall. You can see at the bottom of the little curved area of the color scheme, and then the winds well in advance of the eye, well over 100 knots, 110, 115 miles per hour, and it is expected to intensify. Now, with that push of water coming on through, the surge of water that's going to be pushing through the area, we're going to see storm surge water levels that are going to come up with the 10, 20, 30-foot waves on top of the water level. Let's check out the storm surge, which will be devastating with this storm, and pray that those levees hold up. These are the forecast significant wave heights. So that's 27-foot waves with this storm out in the ocean, and then 22 foot just off to the south and east. This is around about 5 a.m. Sunday as this storm starts pressing in. That's 37 feet of a wave height. Now, as we go forward, you see the surge kind of pressing on in, and that's going to really pile up the water in these estuaries along the Gulf Coast region. All this water, where it's running around 10, 12 foot, just around 8 o'clock in the morning, will start pushing and pressing violently inland. And as the storm surge, where it gets closer, the eye gets closer to the coast, that water table is going to rise, and then all these massive waves will be on top of that wall of water as it presses well inland. So now we're looking at around 11 o'clock in the morning with a little bit around 5 foot storm surge, maybe 10 feet up here around the Gulf Coast region around Mobile, but just offshore down to the south where the eye is, coming in just southeast of Houma, 28 feet, 33 feet, and 40 plus feet of wave heights coming on through. Some areas are going to get even higher than that, and when that surges on through, now we get what's called storm surge and incredible flooding. And so there is the map around the whole southeast. The color schemes on this, as we bring up the legend, shows you that you're looking, the light blues around a foot above the ground, 3 feet of water coming in above the ground in that yellow. The oranges get 6 feet of water above the ground, and then greater than 9 feet in the red. And you can see there's going to be a tremendous amount of water with waves on top of that throughout all areas surrounding the levee system, which is that lined area. That's where the levees hopefully will hold up and keep all this high water out of New Orleans. But look at that. I mean, that's just crazy. That's 6 to 9 feet. That's like, 10 feet of water coming up over the region. And as we look around many of the areas that are in the area, we can see that it's going to be up around Slidell. It's going to be on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain, around Mandeville, Macomb, and then you can see how it expands just around many areas around St. James Parish and the yellow areas down there, Bonhuma, and just a tremendous amount of water and flooding. Also, there'll be stuff over around Biloxi and Gulfport where 1 to 3 feet of water will come inland and start flooding areas too. So just a disastrous situation shaping up for the New Orleans area. You can see the storm system very concentrated, the eye very concentrated, and then we start to see little curls around the eye wall as we go in for a closer look. Those curls are the eye wall falling apart and then redeveloping all over again and strengthening. It goes through these changes as the storm system spins and presses on. So this thing is going to get up to a Category 4, possibly knock on the door of a Category 5. It's going to go inland with all that wind energy, and the wind is going to stay and be concentrated for several hours, up over 100 miles per hour, well inland in the Louisiana area. Then as it presses north into over the border of Mississippi, some winds there will be up over 60, 70 miles per hour. Numerous tornadoes are going to be possible through Florida, southern Georgia, southern Alabama, getting into Mississippi, and then, of course, right around the landfall area where it makes landfall in the Louisiana area. But the big story is the wall of water, 9, 10, 15 feet of water, waves on top of that, 10, 20, 30-foot waves on top of 9 feet of water. That's like a 50-foot wall of water, folks, as it comes through some of these areas. So no way is anybody going to survive this system if they stayed and remained in their house where they asked folks to get out. There's just no way. Then on top of everything, you got water moccasins, you've got gators, deadly snakes with the standing water and the flooding conditions happening. Be treacherous, and then it's going to bend and stretch to the northeast. Monday, Tuesday, watch out. Nashville, watch out. Jackson, Mississippi, watch out. Kentucky, flash flooding, devastating, heavy flash flooding, thunderstorms, all moving through as the remnants of Ida continues to press on inland. So a devastating storm system coming on through, loss of life, loss of property, imminent with this storm system, catastrophic results because of this storm as it moves on through. If you are in areas that are outside of the front range, if you have like maybe 4 or 5 hours lead time, grab yourself or at least get the information of your flood insurance. Make sure you have the numbers handy for your insurance company. Make sure, of course, you're prepared for several weeks without water, shutdown kind of conditions. It'll be a month or maybe a month plus before Louisiana and New Orleans can even think about getting back on its feet as a result of this storm. So hopefully this storm system has got everybody's attention. I know it's rapidly moving towards the north in the wee hours of the morning here on Sunday. So that is the weather show with Vin Crosby. Hopefully you've gotten some information out of this. Pray for folks. If you're in other parts of the country, maybe donate to the Red Cross. Don't send any supplies down there because there's just no way logistically they're going to be able to get to anybody down in the southeast. And if you know any friends and family that are going to be in the path of this storm, call them. Let them know what's going on. Tell them it's going to be extremely dangerous. right now it's kind of too late for folks if you avoided the evacuations. I know the authorities have been evacuating the area very, very strongly, and they'll continue to do so. But boy, it is going to be a wild ride, a dangerous ride for many of our friends in other parts of the country over the next couple of days because of Hurricane Ida.